Hi, Physics 1 class. I'm glad you decided to take my class uh, over the summer. This will be Physics 1, and I am Dr. Wisby. I am an experimental physicist, and I do research at SLU on materials for quantum information. I'm very glad you decided to take my course this summer. Um, it's a new opportunity for me. This is the first time I've taught Physics 1 before. I've taught engineering physics 1, but physics 1 is going to be a little bit different because we are going to look at physics from the perspective of biology. I know that many of you are life science majors, and so that's what we are going to focus on in this class is why is physics relevant to someone in biology or medicine? Um, I think physics has a lot to offer to biologists and health professionals in general. And so I'm going to try and incorporate that into the class as much as possible. So, for example, we're going to look at the same physical problems that you would in a standard physics 1 class, but we're going to use it. We're going to use biology problems instead of normal physics classes, or instead of normal physics problems. So let's talk about how the class is going to work and exactly what you're going to be doing this semester. The class is going to be online because of the present situation with the pandemic. I would normally the class is in person, but I've been teaching classes online in certain senses for 4 to 5 years. So um, I use a lot of different technology, and most importantly, I want it to be what's effective for you to learn. So if during the semester we find that one thing is too distracting or it's not helpful, we will switch to something else or eliminate that thing uh, to make it as good as possible. So let's talk about the syllabus for the class. By now, you should all have the syllabus for the class. It should look something like this. This is basic information for our class. You've got my website is up here, so if you want to take a look at my research, the best way to contact me, obviously, is by email. Um, that's david.wisby at slu.edu. You can also contact me via Zoom if I have my Zoom app open, and I do that sometimes. And my office is in Shannon Hall, but I doubt that any of you are on campus this summer. We will be using my YouTube channel this semester, so hopefully you're all familiar with YouTube. If you go to YouTube and search for David Wisby, my channel should come right up. There's lots of videos there about programming in LabVIEW and some other classes that I taught before. And as I mentioned, I've been putting classes on YouTube for about 4 or 5 years, something like that. So I think YouTube is the best, most reliable way to host videos. So subscribe to my channel or just remember the link. We will be using Zoom. I'm going to record my lectures on Zoom, and I will upload them to YouTube, and so you'll be able to watch them in the morning before our class meetings. So let's talk about how the class is going to work every day. Right? As I said, I will upload a lecture that will cover the class notes. So we will have a standard physics lecture. This is going to cover a PowerPoint presentation for each chapter. And I'm going to prepare one of these every day, and it's going to be on YouTube, and so you can watch it whenever it's convenient for you. I know that there's not an official time for this class, and so I want to be as flexible as possible. So that means you can, after I put the video online, you can go online, you can watch it, you can go through the lecture notes, and you should think about questions that you might have for that, because every day I want to have a live Zoom meeting with each of you for 30 minutes. And based off of feedback I got from you in class, some of you would prefer the afternoon and some of you would prefer the morning. So that means there are going to be two possible meetings that you could go to Monday through Thursday. One's at 11, so 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And the other one is at 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. So I imagine about half of you in each section. And in these Zoom meetings, we're going to work on problems together. You can ask me questions, and we'll also work on the homework. So there will be homework, and that is going to be through the Pearson website. And I sent you information about how to register with Pearson. If you have not used Pearson before, this is also the first time for me as well. And so it looks like a good website, and we're going to play it by ear. But you will need to get access to Pearson, and I did send you a PDF about how to do that. I will also put it on Blackboard as well. So if you have access to Blackboard, then you should be able to get to it there. And the Blackboard will be available today, Sunday, May 17th. So just to reiterate that, every day there's a video about the lecture that is you can watch whenever it's convenient for you. I'll probably record those the day before. But students are required to attend one of the 30-minute meetings every day. This is a way for us to touch base until that I can make contact with you. I know that even though this is online, my goal is to try and make it as much as possible like a class in person. Obviously, it's going to be different, but I would like to see all of you each day and check in to see how you're doing. Also, solving problems is extremely important with physics. The textbook that we're going to be using is College Physics, A Strategic Approach. This is designed for students in the health sciences. So I think there's a lot of good examples in there, and we're going to be exploring things from the perspective of biology, because I believe, and as many physicists do, that physics is important for biology, and we have a lot to offer. So I know that there are people that might be apprehensive about the math, but we will get through the math together. This is not calculus based, and so if there is mathematics, we will be going through that as well too. So, and of course, you can always ask me for help. I have no trouble explaining things and helping with the math. I know that that might not be required in biology to take calculus, and there's not going to be any calculus in this. So please don't be intimidated by the math. We will get through it together. The textbook is available through the website. There is an ebook that you can use there. If you want to have a physical copy of the book, then your best choice would be to order it off of Amazon. Let's talk about the textbook. The textbook we're going to use is College Physics, A Strategic Approach, 4th edition by R.D. Knight, B. Jones, and S. Field, from Pearson Education. Once you register for the online course, you will get an ebook version of the textbook that's included for your subscription. You will need to get access to Pearson as soon as possible, because all of our homework is going to be through the Pearson website. So please do that as quickly as possible. And I included directions about how to find my class. So let's take a look at the instructions for connecting to My Pearson class. Okay, so the first thing is you need to click on the link, www.pearson.com mastering, and then under register, select student. Um, there's going to be different options you can choose, and you'll pick register now. And you're going to need to use this course ID, which is WSBE 13867. Um, that's going to link you to my course section, and then you'll be able to see the homework, reading material, and the ebook for the class. Now, when you're picking options, you should think about who you're going to take physics 2 from. If you're going to take it, I believe, with Dr. Potvin, then he uses the same book as me. And I am endeavoring to use his system as much as possible so that when you get to his class, you'll be ready to go. You can also use this book for his class as well. If you're taking Physics 2 later this summer, you should check with the instructor to find out what book he's going to use, because that you could determine how long you wanted to get your subscription for. They have several options, so depending on your budget and what you're interested for, that's what you should select. If you have questions about this, you can of course email me, but it would be better to contact Pearson about that. But these are the instructions to register for my course. You will need to link to my course, and there is an e-textbook there. Okay, so let's go back to the syllabus. So we talked about which textbook we're going to be using. You can also find our Google Calendar there. This is something that I've started doing recently. I created a Google Calendar for which you can access on your iPhone or Android phone. And with this calendar, I will post all of the assignments and what you should be reading, because for this class, it is online, but I want to make sure that you know at all times what you're supposed to be doing. So if you click on the link here, then this will take you to the Google Calendar, and you can add this to your phone if you want to, or your computer, or if you follow the link, it will just take it to you online. And then you can, of course, delete it later. But this is a great way for me to update what's happening in the class. I'll put tests here, homework, and your reading. Okay, so I do have office hours, and those office hours are going to be on Monday from 3 to 4. I will have a Zoom meeting going, and you can hop into the Zoom meeting and ask me questions. And then another one Tuesday night from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Or we'll see how these go and if anyone shows up for them or not. But that will determine. We can change these times later too, so if that doesn't work for anyone. But this way, if you're working or whatever your situation is, you will be able to go to one of the office hours. Of course, my email is david.wisby@slu.edu. So email me anytime, and I try and get back to you within 24 hours, except on weekends. The final exam is going to be on June 25th. So the class technically is scheduled till June 28th. That falls on a Saturday. So the Thursday before that is June 25th. So that is going to be when the final in the class will be. All of our tests are going to be online, but we'll go into that more when we get to taking a test. But I can tell you there will be a component online, so it will probably be multiple choice or short answer. And then I also have students do a paper copy as well. That's so that if the software crashes or the internet dies, and you're right in the middle of the test, you can always send me that PDF and say, Dr. Wisby, here's my exam. It's like, great, you get full credit for whatever you put. Class attendance, of course, we're not going to be in a physical building, but what I expect for you is for you to go through the class lecture, watch my videos of the lecture, and then we meet in our daily Zoom session. And in our Zoom session, we're going to work on problems together. We're going to do something called Idea Labs, where I give you a problem and you work to solve it with partners. But for the Zoom sessions, please, if you can, get a webcam and turn it on. It makes things a little bit more personal because, of course, we can't actually be there together, but this is the closest that we can get right now under our given situation. And we're going to do the best that we can. The Zoom meetings that we have once a day, I'm going to limit those to 30 minutes because after 30 minutes, it gets a little bit hard to focus on the screen anymore. But during these times, we're going to work on problems. So you will need to attend at least one 30-minute Zoom session Monday through Thursday. The general course description is we're taking an analytic approach to problem solving. So maybe you're saying, why do I need to take physics? Well, it's required by my major. I understand that. But I think physics has a lot to offer for different health majors. Regardless if you're in biology, nursing, physical therapy, you're a pre-med, physics has something to offer for you. And I want to make the class as approachable as possible. I know that some of you may have fear and anxiety, but rest assured, we'll get through it together because physics is important, even for biology and for health. Whatever your major is, it can help you solve problems. So you're going to learn techniques for looking at problems in here that you can apply to anything. But that's what, and we're going to cover mechanics, states of matter, oscillations, waves and sound and heat, and the human body and biological systems will be used as much as possible to study physics. So most of the problems we do, we're going to try and put it in the context of biology. So there will be some pure physics problems, but we're also going to put in as much biology as we can. I believe we don't lose anything because physics is really relevant to every field. And so I think if we explore physics in the context of the life sciences, then we don't lose anything. And I want to make you realize how awesome and exciting physics is. And it's important for you. Even if you're not a physics major, that's fine. So during the course of the semester, if things aren't going well somehow with what we're doing, I will try and change it to make it better. I will, if something's not working, I reserve the right to change it, okay? So we are going to be studying measurement, 1D motion, vectors, 3D motion, force and motion, kinetic energy and work, and we're gonna do this in the context of biology. So probably not so much gravitation, but we'll see how far we get. But we are going to use these things in the context of biology. And that's something I'm really excited about. I taught engineering physics to biomedical engineers. And at one point, one of the complaints I got was that I had too much biophysics in the class. I don't think that's going to be a problem for you guys because you love it. And so I'm excited about that. I've got some really cool biophysics examples, and that's what we're going to focus on. So there will be a lecture. There's going to be homework most of the time. Since it is a summer class, we're going to have to, there's going to be some homework, and it's important to keep up with the homework as much as possible because Since this is a summer class, it's going to be extremely important that you keep up with the homework. This means most days we're going to be working on homework. That's one thing we're going to do in those 30-minute Zoom sessions. We're going to get started on the homework. We're going to go through a little bit each day. We're going to work on problems that are relevant to the homework, because I want to make sure that you are able to keep up with the homework and you don't get behind. And because our class is shorter than usual, it's important to stay on top of the homework assignments as much as possible. In terms of in-class exercises, those are going to be the problems that we do during the 30-minute Zoom session. Probably not quizzes so much. There might be polls that I post in Zoom, but we're going to sort of play that by ear. Then in-class activities are going to be the problems, and I will try and do as many demonstrations as possible. I am an experimental physicist, and so that means I'm a very hands-on person. I like to do a lot of demos. That's a little bit challenging with our current video setup, but nonetheless, I'm going to find some cool demos to do. Okay. The homework, that's going to involve homework problems that will be due every couple of days, and that will be in the Google Calendar. And it's also important to keep up with the reading as well, because to really get an understanding of it, you need to read the textbook. I always would tell my friends when I was in college, they would ask me for help on physics homework, and I would always say, did you read the book? Read the book. It's going to be online. There's an ebook. You can order the book through Amazon or through the Pearson website. So if you're one of those people that loves to have a tangible book, I completely understand, but please order it off of Amazon. You will have the e-textbook in the meantime, and so you can start working with that as soon as possible. For the exams, that's primarily going to be from the homework and what I talk about in my lecture. So, and the class notes. So I'll be giving you the class notes, and I'll be going through and talking about them. So it's a really great way, if you watch my lecture, to go through the class notes. All that could be on the exam. So if we do problems in the practice sessions, the daily meetings, I'll try and do the same thing for each meeting, and that stuff could be on the exam as well. If we do have quizzes, there may be problems for that day, and those could be through the Pearson website, or I'll have you email me your answers. We'll see how it goes. For our grading scale, pretty standard grading scale. Anything from 92 above is an A, 90 to 92 is an A minus, and so on. So let's look at the breakdown of what's possible here. Now, if you get 60% or less, that is technically an F. 60 to 70% is a D, but I don't want anyone to fall in that range. And so when we have our daily Zoom meetings, we can check in, make sure that everything's getting done. Do the homework. Homework is worth a significant part of your grade. It's 30% of your grade. So if, say, we have 10 homework assignments, and that's just a number that I threw out there, I don't know how many we'll actually have. We have 10 homework assignments. If you don't do one homework assignment, that's 3% of your class grade. That's really a lot. So please do the homework assignments. Reading assignments are going to be 5% of your grade. So by reading the chapter, that's going to be, and there's problems that I'll give you for the reading assignments. That's going to be another 5% of your grade. So altogether, that's 35% of your grade for doing the homework, reading the textbook. So those are easy points. You can get those done. Make sure you keep up with the reading. Don't get behind in that. Then the in-class problems that we do during those 30-minute sessions, those are going to be worth 5% of your grade. So come to the Zoom meetings, do those problems, and we're going to be doing a lot of those problems. So, and don't get behind. The in-class problems really should be done that day. They should be finished that day, very soon after class, if not in class. But those need to be done. These are not really problems that can be made up later. So come to the Zoom meetings, do the problems. Then it says we are going to have 3 tests plus the final. The first 3 tests will be worth 40% of your grade, and I will be putting those in the Google Calendar. So I'll get those dates up there as soon as possible. Then the final is going to be on the 25th. That's going to be 20% of your grade, and it will be comprehensive. It will cover the whole class, but we will review that. If you'd like to read a journal article for extra credit, you can do that, and it will give you 1% overall extra credit in the class. Okay, so I reserve the right to lower the cutoffs, meaning if I think it was too hard, I could say everyone with 90% or above gets an A, and maybe 87 to 90 is an A minus. So I can lower that cutoff. I won't raise it, but I can do that. If you look at your point totals on the Pearson website for your assignments, those are not going to necessarily reflect your grade. You're going to need to ask me or look in Blackboard. Okay, so you can read through these policies here. Let's talk about a couple of them. For the Zoom meetings, please use your webcam, have it on so that we can see each other and interact. One thing I've noticed with this online teaching is that you lose something by not having that in-class experience, and by having the webcam on, we can get a little bit of that back. I want to see your faces and talk to each one of you, see how you're doing, and I will record if you are there, so I'll check you in. When you join the Zoom meeting, it's important to use your real name. There's going to be a waiting room, and I will not let anyone into the meeting unless I recognize your name. So I'll have a list of everyone's name. When you join the Zoom meeting, I will say, this person is in our class, and I will let you in. So come a little bit early, and I will start letting people in. When we're in the Zoom meetings, as you notice here, I have this lovely background from the Hubble Space Telescope. So this is the galaxy M74. You can see right over here, this is M74, a spiral galaxy, not unlike the Milky Way. Go to the Hubble site website, very cool pictures. You are welcome to use a virtual background as long as it's appropriate for a family setting. Nothing illicit, nothing illegal. Don't put pictures of alcohol. Have a neutral background that's not distracting. No dancing people or something weird in the background. Please keep it appropriate, and let's pretend that this is just like we are in a class. So treat the Zoom meetings like you would as if you were in class. Just remember, always treat people how you would, just like you were in class, because that's what we want to be going for. If you're a student athlete, I'm not sure what's happening this summer. I don't think we have any events, but please let me know. If you need accommodations, please talk to me as soon as possible. I can do extra time on the exams. Let's look at our policies here. If you have a family emergency, it's possible to reschedule the exam, but those do need to be taken online. Once you give me the exam, it's final. So we'll have the online section, but then I'll also have you email me a PDF version. Once you submit that, it's final and it can't be changed. Let's see. you should use a calculator. And when you take the exams, you should not talk to other people, obviously. But we'll talk more about what's going to happen with the exams once we get closer to the exam. Then some of these, while we're in the Zoom meetings, please don't have other websites open, such as Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat. Focus on the meetings, and we'll try and keep those as interactive as possible. So yes, the quizzes and things that we do in class, those really can't be made up. So unless you have some kind of medical emergency or situation, which obviously that is something that we could worry about. So, but we can reschedule the exam. So, yes, St. Louis University wants to have a bias-free, discrimination-free, harassment-free environment. So if you have concerns, please talk to me, or you can talk to the counseling center at SLU. Hopefully we won't have to deal with any inappropriate actions, but please, let's keep things professional in the Zoom meetings. And then academic integrity, that's always sort of a question online because there are a lot of websites out there that that you could possibly cheat off of, but I believe that most people are honest and that you want to learn, and this stuff is really important. So and with the exams, they are going to be timed, so you will have a limited time to finish those. And so if you don't really know the material, it's going to be difficult for you to look it up. And usually I let the exams are going to be open notes, so that would mean you'd be able to look at your homework, look at the book, and you're not allowed to look at any other websites. And because the exams are going to be timed, it's a good idea for you to study just like you would an in-person exam, because you will also need to email me a PDF copy. So write out all of your all of the problems that you do and send me a PDF copy. But please read through the syllabus. That's pretty much everything in the syllabus. And so, and we will talk more about this tomorrow. So please bring your questions for me. But just to, let's reiterate what we've talked to and how the class is going to work. There will be a lecture on YouTube. So go to YouTube, find my channel, David Wisby, a lot of good stuff there if you like programming. That's where the lectures are going to be. You can watch the lectures whenever it's convenient for you. Then we're also going to have a 30-minute Zoom meeting. We're going to meet together, do problems, and I want to see at least all of you there once a day. You can come to both if you want to, but maybe the morning is better or the afternoon. Come to a Zoom meeting, and we're going to work on problems, and that's required, that 30-minute live Zoom session. Then the Google Calendar, there's a link for it. That's so you can keep track of your assignments, and I can populate that, and you don't have to add anything to your calendar. It's on my calendar, so I can add an event, and it will automatically show up on your phone. So I'll say, let's read chapter 2 this week, chapter 3 this week, and here's when our exams are going to be. Then we will also use Blackboard. The university requires us to use Blackboard. So I will put documents there. The lecture notes will be there. Your current grade in the class will also be on Blackboard. So I look forward to seeing you all in Zoom tomorrow and getting to know all of you. And we will talk about any questions that you have, and then we'll get started on chapter 1. So please follow the instructions in the video, in the PDF. Get your Pearson account set up as soon as possible and start reading chapter 1. So I will see you Monday. For now, have a good rest of your day.